The casting call for Harry Potter, Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger is officially out, and it's going to be diverse and inclusive. Looking back at my childhood, there are a few things that were quite influential on it. Lord of the Rings and Star Wars come immediately to mind. But the creation of J.K. Rowling about a child wizard who has to face the most evil wizard to exist did also have a tight hold on my youth. Since delving into reviewing movies, TV shows and video games, I've come to look at things with a much more critical eye in pretty much nearly everything, and Harry Potter was no way near as good as I remember it growing up. There are some serious plot holes in this story. Rowling appeared to have a habit of introducing things without much consideration about continuity. They always seem to retroactively change something. The Horcruxes made the diary from the chamber way more important than was really intended. Dumbledore does nothing to help Harry, keeps very serious information from him, and leaves him with very abusive guardians. Anyone who saw Harry before Hogwarts should have reported to the Dursleys to Child Services. The Marauders map paints the Weasley twins as incompetent because they would have seen the name of a supposed dead man sleeping with their brother. And Ron is the shallowest piece of shit ever, and Harry should never have forgiven him for abandoning him twice. Point being, while I'm not as into it as I was growing up, I can still appreciate the values that Rowling intended to be told in this story. Good old-fashioned lessons to teach, lessons of friendship, of love, the values of hard work, and good triumphing over evil. All of that is about to be stupefied out the fucking window. Warner Brothers has released the casting call for HBO's Harry Potter, and it has me very worried that once again, identity politics are going to be in the driver's seat. Quoting, "We are committed to inclusive, diverse casting. For every role, please submit qualified performers without regard to ethnicity, sex, disability, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other basis protected by law unless otherwise specifically indicated." So Ron's going to be Asian and transgender, Hermione's going to be black in a wheelchair, and Harry will be blonde and have a prosthetic limb. Fuck! Right. I've gone into this before, and it looks like I'm gonna need to do this again. Diversity in itself is not a bad thing, but going against already established character descriptions for a piece of work you are adapting is not. Prime example, look at the Rings of Power and The Witcher. There is no sense of geography in either of those worlds because everyone looks like they stepped into a studio from the street in downtown LA. Harry, Ron and Hermione have pretty detailed and established descriptions, and they got pretty close to that with the castings that they did. Ron was definitely the closest because the only thing that Rupert Grint doesn't have in common with Ron is that he doesn't have freckles. Emma Watson, especially when she was younger, did have the bushy brown hair that is described by Hermione, and if you look at the very final scene of the film, of Philosopher's Stone, which was the first scene that they ever shot, she is wearing fake teeth. So they did at the very least try to do that. The same with Daniel Radcliffe. They gave him the messy Potter hair that is described in the books. It is one of his key physical characteristics. They weren't able to give him the green eyes because Daniel Radcliffe was allergic to the eye contacts. But again, first scene they ever shot, he is wearing them, so they did at least try it. It is not the responsibility of the showrunners to change this to fit a modern audience. The point of adapting a piece of work to screen is to bring what's on the page to life, not to take it and warp it into what you want. Any project that has put ideology ahead of focusing on what makes the story worth telling and what makes the characters interesting has fallen flat on its stupid face. The mentality is fucked here. And this casting call, I think, is the first step on the road to stupidity. If they keep following this line, it isn't just going to be a shit show, it's going to be a shit show.